It is now 1 week post-op since I got my hair transplant surgery, and today I am giving you an insider, uncensored, raw, and at times ugly look at what it was like for me as a woman to get hair transplant surgery. If you just stumbled upon this video, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Gabby and I am a Canadian hairstylist. I suffer from a condition called traction alopecia. What traction alopecia is it's hair loss caused by repeated tension being put on the hair follicle. If you want to know more about my alopecia story, what happened, how I got led down that path slowly over time, and how maybe you can prevent yourself from having as much hair loss as I did, then you can check out this video next, or you can also check out this video, which goes a little deeper and dives a little bit more personally into my life and what actually caused all of that hair loss. Without further delay, give me a thumbs up on this video, subscribe down below if you want to follow me on this transplant journey, and keep on watching. So here we go. It's the morning of my transplant surgery. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. All of the feelings are hitting me right now. Before you meet my surgeon during the vlog, I just want to introduce him here first. My surgeon's name is Dr. Cory Goldberg, and he is based out of Toronto in Canada. He is the surgeon that did my rhinoplasty. I have done 2 different videos on my rhinoplasty experience, so you guys can check those out next if you're interested in a rhinoplasty. But this man is an incredible surgeon. He is an artist of a surgeon and really transformed my nose, gave me the nose and the kind of face and balance of my dreams. So really there was no one else that I could have trusted with a procedure that's this scary and that makes you feel this vulnerable. His entire staff, including his office manager Sonia, have been absolutely incredible with me. They have been so kind and understanding. They have answered a million questions that I have asked. Before I went into my surgery, I had to get the team a little gift, so I got the baker Susan Strongman, who is _mycookielady_ on Instagram. Go check her out, she's incredible, to make cookies of a girl with long luscious hair, and she went above and beyond and also did his logo and a thank you on one of the cookies. I loved how these turned out. They made for such a cute little gift. So I also really needed to give Susan a shout out. Thank you so much for doing those for me. Moving right along to the morning of my surgery. Here we go.
So let's start with questions. Anything that I can clarify for you, or anything that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of people ask me actually if when you take the donor hair back here, will there be bald spots in the back of my head?
No. So the way that the donors are harvested is that they're distributed evenly over the whole back. So they're taken, spaced apart, and that way as the hair goes in, there's nothing to be seen at all. So it decreases the overall density, but it's not visible. So no bald patches, and you won't be able to tell that anything is missing from the back.
But going to be about 10 hours?
Probably not that long. I mean, it'd probably be more like 6 to 8, depending on how easily the hair is harvested. The harvest is often the slowest part,
yeah.
And it varies depending on the thickness of your hair, how curly it is, which happily yours is not.
My hair's pretty curly. I straightened it.
Okay, so that's, I kind of wondered about that.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Surprise!
Some people's hair is more fragile also. If the hair is brittle, sometimes it's harder to get the hair follicles to come out.
Okay.
So depending on all those different factors, it will sort of depend. It will lead to how long it takes to harvest. So the harvesting is kind of the part that varies the most.
Okay.
So if the harvesting is easy and the hair comes out easily, then the day will probably go faster.
Okay.
And we'll know that by midday.
Okay, great.
This is where you can see how good I am at hairstyling.
I'm very good at it, so I can do it for you. So this is where the party starts. The first step in the procedure is to freeze the back of your head, because that's where they're taking the donor hair. That's where they're going to harvest the donor hair. So the way that he went about doing this is by taking a needle and moving it kind of around the back of my head. I would say that the pain in this on a scale of 1 to 10 is maybe like a 5. I'd like to think that I have pretty high pain tolerance. it definitely is uncomfortable and it definitely felt a little bit strange, but as the freezing started to kick in, I started to feel it less and less, so that's really good. The weirdest part of this experience for me was that the freezing had adrenaline in it, and I'm really sensitive to drugs in general, so I instantly felt like my heart started racing and I started getting like really nervous and clammy and shaky, and like I just wanted to run. And so he told me that that was gonna happen. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh my God, I thought I was just like really nervous all of a sudden, but that was the adrenaline. That was really weird to experience.
There's adrenaline?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if your heart races a little bit or you feel a little bit edgy, that's what it
I
is.
do. I feel so sketchy right now. I do.
Is it because there's a camera in your face?
No, I feel like really sketchy. I
Oh,
feel
God.
like I want to like run.
You're okay. Take a deep breath. Fight. Fight.
Oh my God, I really do feel like I just want to go for a little jog.
Okay, well, you're gonna get some time to relax now. Now the other thing I would offer you, if you would like, is some Ativan.
Oh.
Ativan is a sedative. You can take 1 milligram of it. It'll last you a good few hours. It'll kind of zonk you out and make the rest of the day sort of a little bit easier and more relaxing.
Well, why the hell not?
There we go.
Oh my God. Do you inject that into my scalp as well, or do I just swallow that?
That you get to just swallow. Okay, well, how's it
Amazing.
going? I'm guessing that the anesthetic has already started working because, yeah, you're barely moving.
Yeah, it feels really weird. It feels like the back of my head is really tight. And like I almost feel like someone's kind of like choking me from the back. Does that make sense? That's really weird to explain it like that.
It's very appropriate. I get it. That's exactly what it would feel like. Very, very tight.
Yeah. Okay, so I just took some Ativan. Dr. Goldberg gave me. I feel so messed up right now. I feel so weird right now.
Do you want to record me saying what's happening?
Oh my God.
So my sister is a little bit locally anesthetized. She's got some anesthesia in her neck now, and she just took some Ativan.
Yeah, we
And,
took some Ativan to
she
bring
now-
it down.
She's now going to relax for half an hour while they prep the surgical room,
Yeah.
and then they're going to transfer her over there to get started.
So we're good to go, guys. This is the
How do you
beginning
feel?
of the journey. I feel weird because the whole back of my neck is numb, and it feels almost like there's someone pulling, like it's really tight. And because is it steroid?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh no, adrenaline.
adrenaline. Yeah, I feel like intense. Like I feel like I want to run away.
Too late now.
That's it.
The next part of the procedure was something that I didn't know we would have to do. I realized that in order to get donor hair, we had to shave a part of the donor area, which is the thick, beautiful part of the back of your head where the hair is really nice and full. But I didn't realize how big the donor area actually was. It's about 1/3 of my hair. So when I found this out, this was unbelievably emotional for me. This was the hardest part of the entire day.
That entire section was shaved.
My hair on the sides is so thin and I'm so self-conscious about it, and I'm able to hide it because I have really thick, beautiful hair in the back, and having to shave all of that hair that I kind of rely on to hide all of the patchiness and to make my hair look full and beautiful just made me feel so exposed and vulnerable. And like, to be totally honest, it made me like completely freak out in my head, and like externally I felt really bad for the techs and the nurses and the doctor that had to see me like that.
My sister didn't realize that they were gonna have to shave the back of her head, so she was just a little bit emotional about it.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it in the long run.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Okay.
Alright, so
I look so sad.
no. You know what, when your hair is down, it's not gonna be that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, ready to get started?
That's something else that you need to be aware of when you are getting your hair transplant. It's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. So you are going to have a lot less hair in the short run, but in the end, for the rest of your life, when all of that grows back, it's gonna look significantly better. But not having had known that, you'll see in these clips that it was really, really difficult for me to accept and to go through. That's one of the most vulnerable times of my life. I've never felt like that. I'm not that attached to my hair. When I get haircuts, I don't really care. But as they were shaving it, I just felt like I was like losing my confidence and my security blanket, and it was a really intense experience for me. So for the first step of the procedure, what you have to do is lay down in a massage table with your face down, just like you're getting a massage, and they start extracting the follicles one by one with a machine called Smart Graft. The other technicians, there's 2 technicians working with you, and the one technician is extracting and the other technician is harvesting the hair, making sure that it's good to then be implanted in the hair loss zones. This looks really painful and brutal, but your head is frozen so you don't feel it. For me, I actually started unfreezing quite often, and I think it's because my body just wasn't responding very well to the freezing, or it was metabolizing it too fast maybe, I'm not sure. But every time I could start feeling any type of cutting, it wasn't like a level 10 pain by any means, it was very mild, I could just kind of start to feel it. I would let the technician know, and she would call the nurse or the doctor, and they would refreeze me. Okay, so now that extracting of the donor area is finished, now it's time to implant the hair. So Dr. Goldberg came back into the room and he froze the sides of my head. The way that this works is both techs were working on me at the same time, one on either side, and they were just making small little incisions, and then from those incisions they would take the follicles and they would just put them in one at a time. So this is really time-consuming work, it's very artistic work, it's very methodical work, and so they just did it slowly following the lines that Dr. Goldberg had already drawn for them, one by one, hair by hair. This looks like it's really, really uncomfortable, but I was completely comfortable in this moment. It was absolutely fine. As you can see in this clip, there were tons of hairs implanted on my right side, which was the side that was extra horrible. And that concluded the day. I got in around 7:30 in the morning. We ended up starting closer to noon or 1, and then we finished by 8-ish. So it was a long day. It was an incredibly emotional day, much more emotional than I expected. But once it started going, it started moving quite quickly.
So we just left the clinic and I look crazy because I have my bandage and my little bun, and I'm with my sister.
Hi. Driving.
I'm having like an emotional moment. It's hard when like, I guess I just feel so self-conscious about these areas, but I always had like my thick, beautiful hair in the back to hide it. And the shaving part for sure was like the most traumatic part of this experience, because now I feel like I literally have no hair. And so I didn't want to record this because I'm like a mess, but I promised you guys that this vlog would be real, so that's how I feel about it. What do you think?
I think you're beautiful. Oh, baby. You're okay.
Yeah.
So that's hard to watch. The drive home was really hard on me. I felt like at that point, I had woken up so early because I don't live in Toronto. So I had woken up around 5 in the morning. By that point when we were driving, it was close to 9. The medication started wearing off. I had to go to the pharmacy to go grab my medication. And I just started feeling like a lot of pain and really, really tired. And it just like all hit me. And I just felt, you know, so insecure about the hair loss and so insecure about the back of my head being shaved. It's now been 6 days since the procedure, and I've really come to terms with that, and I've really accepted that that's just what had to be done to give me the end result. So everything's okay now. But when you do it, if you're a woman and you're going to go through with this, you do have to expect that it is an emotional experience, especially if you're sensitive about your hair loss. And if you're doing this, you probably are. So brace yourself for the ride, and just know that you're strong enough to handle it, and that it's for a really great cause at the end of it all. If you want to know more about my hair loss experience, then check out this video next. I'll see you in a few days. Bye.